The gnarled redwoods of Northern California had always held a certain mystique for me, their towering presence, their ancient silence, the way the fog clung to their upper branches. It was all captivating, yet subtly unsettling. I'd hiked through them countless times, always with a healthy respect for their immensity, but never with fear. That was before I heard the whispers. It started subtly, a rustle in the leaves that sounded like someone speaking, too low to understand. I dismissed it as the wind, the creaking of branches, the natural sounds of the forest amplified by the stillness, but it persisted, a low, murmuring undertone beneath the usual forest symphony. I was on a solo backpacking trip, a 3-day trek through a less-traveled section of Redwood National Park. I prided myself on my self-reliance, my ability to navigate and survive in the wilderness. The whispers, however, began to chip away at that confidence. The second day they became clearer, not distinct words, but fragments of phrases, whispers in a language I didn't recognize. They seemed to emanate from the trees themselves, as if the redwoods were whispering secrets to each other, secrets I wasn't meant to hear. I tried to rationalize it. Sound plays tricks in the forest. The acoustics are strange. It's just my imagination. But the feeling of unease grew. I started seeing things in the periphery of my vision. Shadows that flickered between the trees. Shapes that seemed to shift and morph when I wasn't looking directly at them. I'd whirl around, convinced I was being watched, but there was never anything there, just the silent, towering redwoods, their dark bark seeming to absorb the light, their needles whispering their secrets. That night I set up camp in a small clearing, a patch of dry earth surrounded by the looming giants. The fog rolled in, thick and impenetrable, muffling all sound except for the whispers. They were louder now, more insistent. I could almost feel them brushing against my skin, cold and clammy. I tried to sleep, but the whispers kept me awake. They were inside my head now, not just in the trees. I could hear them, clear as day, but I still couldn't understand the language. It was a low, guttural tongue filled with sibilant hisses and clicking sounds. Suddenly, I heard a different sound, a snapping twig. I sat up, my heart pounding. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the darkness. The beam cut through the fog, illuminating the dense undergrowth. Nothing. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. Only the whispers answered. Another snap, closer this time. I swung the flashlight around, my hand shaking. Then I saw it, a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It was tall and thin, almost skeletal, shrouded in the fog. I couldn't make out any details, but I could feel its eyes on me, cold and piercing. Fear gripped me, a primal terror I'd never experienced before. I fumbled for my bear spray, my hands slick with sweat. I pointed the figure, my finger on the trigger. "Stay back," I shouted, my voice cracking. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, silent and still, a dark silhouette against the swirling fog. Then it raised its hand, not in a threatening gesture, but in a way that made my blood run cold. It raised its hand, and its fingers were long and gnarled, like the branches of the redwoods themselves, and on its hand it wore a ring made of bone. I didn't wait to see anything else. I turned and ran, stumbling through the undergrowth, the whispers chasing me. I didn't look back. I ran as fast as I could, my lungs burning, my legs aching. I ran until I collapsed, exhausted and terrified. At the edge of the park, miles from my campsite. I never went back to that section of the park. I told the rangers what I'd seen, but they dismissed it as a hallucination, exhaustion, the power of suggestion. They told me there were no records of anyone living in the park, no isolated settlements, nothing that could explain what I'd seen. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw. The whispers are still there, in the back of my mind, waiting. Sometimes, when I'm alone in the woods, I hear them again, faint and distant, carried on the wind, and I know that the redwoods are watching, waiting, their ancient secrets still whispering in the fog, and I know with a chilling certainty that I am not welcome there.